First, let's start with this case. The recent family Christmas party was at my 22 house this year, and about 25 people showed up. The traditional game this year was White Elephant. My family plays the dice version with some house rules for context. Anyone who doesn't have a gift by the end of the game will receive $10 as a gift. Trading gifts is allowed only with the $10 consolation gift. The game had a total of about 40 gifts. I ended the game with 4 gifts, and 4 family members ended with none. My gifts were a space heater, windshield wipers, a 20-pound gummy bear, and a $50 Starbucks gift card. Of the 4 people without gifts, 3 of them got rejected, meaning only 1 trade was made. My cousin, 26F, ended up with $50 worth of lottery tickets, but assumed they'd be worth nothing, and I don't go to Starbucks. We couldn't trade because of the rules above, and argued that the gift cards and lottery tickets had a numerical value like the $10 gifts, so they should be tradable. The family agreed, and more gift cards were exchanged. Trading ended, and people began using their gifts. So I went to put my gifts back in my room, and a quarter to scratch the 5 $10 tickets. I wasn't expecting to win anyway. As I thought that scratching the second about to move on to the third, I did a double take as I realized I'd won $25,000. For the second, I thought they were fake, but my grandma, 82F, who bought them, wouldn't do that. I sat in my room for a bit and decided to keep quiet about it, knowing how some family members might react. I thought about how to tell them throughout the party. When they asked, I said no and that I threw them out. The next day, the 29th, I asked my mom, 58F, to come with me to cash in the lottery ticket. She was surprised, of course, and told me that I needed to go to the casino. My brother, 28Mem, thought it was funny and tagged along. He proceeded to post snaps of me being handed $100 bills in the casino. Although I told him not to say anything because of the commotion it would cause and that I'd share some with the family, he posted it anyway. An hour passes, and I'm pulled into a group chat of people from the party plus family members that couldn't make it. I said I'd give everyone who came to the party $250 and thought I was being selfish. For 30-ish people that attended, that's $7,500 right there. I felt that was fair. Family members who weren't there argued that they shouldn't be excluded. Others argued that $250 isn't enough if I have $25K. After about 30 minutes of arguing, I was pissed and gave up negotiating. I told everyone that I'm sorry that they're not happy with your WE gifts this year and that the rule was that all trades are final. I kept all the money, put $15 in my savings, and invested the rest. Many of my family members are still upset with me, even as far as calling me cruel and heartless. I told them that if $250 isn't enough from a $100 limit, they're the selfish ones. Am I in the wrong? Note that no household or individual family member is struggling financially. Let's start judging. That is why my personal rule is I never give out lottery tickets as any sort of gift. Because if you lose, people are like, haha, you got nothing for your gift. If you win, everybody wants a piece of it. It's your money. You don't need to share it with anybody, and you will never make anyone happy because they all want more. And if you end up more than them, they will think you're being greedy. Nobody wins in that way. Also, your brother was a super huge a-hole for posting it online knowing there was going to be issues. You offered to be nice, and everybody said it wasn't enough free money. So you did the right thing. No one gets anything, and you get to have some savings cushion and a little investing. You're not in the wrong, and don't think twice. Honestly, your whole family is an idiot. What kind of deranged white elephant game do people not wind up with gifts, and you wind up with 4? That game was bound to start fights to begin with. Everyone else sucks for not being happy with a generous $250. You're not in the wrong for that offer. Your family is thought to be greedy. You're not in the wrong. $250 is pretty generous for doing nothing. They should be happy they got anything. Next up, right now I feel bad about this situation while also feeling some resentment towards my family. My sister lives about 20 minutes from me near our parents. There was a family emergency where she needed to meet my parents at the hospital, and taking her kids wasn't an option. She called me up at 6:45 p.m. on her way to my apartment to tell me she needed to drop off the kids quickly and run. I tried to tell her that I was not in the right condition for that. She told me it was an emergency and she had no other option. I begged her to call her mother-in-law. She said that wouldn't work. When she showed up, she stepped inside my apartment to hand off her kids. Like I told her, I wasn't in condition for this. My friend and I had been celebrating her new job. My sister was shocked and disgusted and dragged her kids off, but not before telling me what a pathetic loser she thinks I am. She ended up texting me a novel about how disappointed she is, how upsetting it is for her kids to have walked into my apartment reeking of weed, how I'm 27 and should be over that phase of my life, etc. She ripped into me for still living with 5 roommates, not having a car, all this other stuff. It was deeply hurtful, and I just apologized for not being able to help her and the kids. Of course, I had no idea there could be an emergency like this, but you never know. That's why it's an emergency. Yes, I live with 5 people, but they are my friends and we need each other to afford living here. I don't have a car because I can't drive. Weed is legal here, and it's not a crime to smoke once in a while. My sister said she was so disgusted with me that she brought my parents into it. They have all banded together to let me know what a piece of trash I am for not living up to anyone's expectations. I do feel a little bit defensive because I had no way of knowing this would happen. So I guess my question boils down to, am I an idiot because I was not ready for an emergency at my age of 27? Did I really let my family down? Okay, I got the post to let me edit it, and someone told me to add that the reason I can't drive is because I medically can't drive, and never can, for my whole entire life, sadly. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Why in the world would your sister think your home with 5 other people was even an option for childcare? It should have been obvious that she needed to find different options. You literally told her you were smoking. And there was really nothing preventing her from taking the kids with her. As for the weed, it's legal where you are, so if she doesn't like it, she can take it up with her state representatives and governor, along with the voters who passed the law. You're not in the wrong. You did in fact act responsibly here by informing your sister that you didn't feel comfortable caring for her children while intoxicated. Your parents' and sister's grumbling has nothing to do with the emergency. Surely they don't expect that no adult should ever be intoxicated or otherwise unavailable at a moment's notice. Instead, they're just using this as an occasion to let you know that they disapprove of your lifestyle. I guess you can do with that revelation what you will, but living with roommates and smoking weed certainly does not make you an idiot. You're not in the wrong. You would have been just as unavailable if you went on a vacation, were in a movie and turned off your phone, or church. You would not have answered the phone if you just got off a 48-hour shift at that same hospital. She just happened to pick a day you smoked, could have been a couple shots into a party as well, and same result. You cannot be at the ready 24 hours for anyone. That is not realistic. She is just venting and pulling others into it was wrong. Next up. So my husband and I, both 39, have a daughter, 17. I know we had her young. Anywho, I was raised by nudist parents, and it kind of stayed with me and grew onto my husband. We tend to walk around our home nude. When my daughter was old enough to voice her opinion on it, she was fine with it, and she is always in our home nude, when it's just us. Nearly everyone on my side of the family is completely fine with nudity. We usually dress when others come over, though. I'm aware not everyone will be okay with the way we live, and that's fine. My daughter has never been forced to. It's always on her terms. Some days she doesn't want to be, and that's fine. We've made it clear that we're fine to wear clothes if she's ever uncomfortable as long as she lets us know. Not once has she ever said we made her uncomfortable, and we leave it at that. However, my husband's family raised him and his family the complete opposite from what I was raised with. So we were never told about how we live. A few days ago, mother-in-law came over out of the blue, but my husband wasn't home. She says she wasn't here to see him, and she wanted to talk to me and ask why I was forcing her baby girl to be naked against her will. Obviously, I'm taken aback and ask what she means. She continues that she found out we were nudists and didn't appreciate it because it was wrong, and we needed not to put such poison in my daughter's head. My daughter walks in, clothed, and mother-in-law starts trying to hug her, to which daughter pulls away and says, "Stop." I tell mother-in-law to leave her alone. Mother-in-law calls my husband, and she starts fussing in this whiny voice about how we were terrible people for the way we forced our daughter to live, and that my daughter doesn't even allow mother-in-law to hug her. My daughter speaks up saying she fine living that way, and mother-in-law was being a Karen. Mother-in-law is still going on about how we can no longer be nudists as it was illegal, and if we didn't stop, she would contact CPS. That is when I had finally had enough, and told mother-in-law she was fine to not accepting how we live, but she wasn't going to bash my husband or myself and call us bad parents in front of my child. So I tell mother-in-law to leave and left it at that. DH gets home and says he got a call from my brother-in-law saying mother-in-law called him in tears, saying I kicked her out and physically removed her. All I did was open the door and told her to go, and I should apologize. After explaining what happened, my husband sided with me, and his mom is throwing a tantrum about it. Brother-in-law thinks I was in the wrong still, and his family has been harassing us since. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. I think your daughter's reaction to your mother-in-law speaks volumes as well. Everyone is different, and if mother-in-law can't accept that, that's her problem. You're not in the wrong. I don't know any families like yours, and I think a lot of people would be uncomfortable with the idea of it. That said, your daughter is 17, and it sounds like she is comfortable with it, and you have always raised her this way. It's a bit late now for your mother-in-law to try to change things. In under a year, your daughter will be an adult herself. So it's good for you to encourage her to make her own decisions and say what she is and isn't comfortable with, like not hugging your mother-in-law. 1. What does she expect CPS to do over a 17-year-old in her own home who has made it clear that she's comfortable with her parents being nudists and wanting to do it herself, of her own free will? 2. Do you go to public places where nudity is legally banned in your birthday suits? Or are you only doing it within the confines of your own home where you have an expectation of privacy? While there are inappropriate places to be naked in public, no one can tell you that you cannot do it around a 17-year-old, other than the 17-year-old themselves. You're not in the wrong. Doesn't matter if they're biologically blood relatives or if they're in-laws. Unless they physically live 24/7 in the same house as you, they qualify as outsiders. It's not illegal to be naked in your own home. Therefore, no outsider should be able to tell you what you shouldn't do in your own home. Next up, my partner and I have been together for 3 years. During this time, I have helped him on remodeling some of his rental properties and other property management tasks. He helped me repair my home after a major flood incident. I would say up until this point, our work-for-work exchange has been fairly equal to slightly tipping the scale in his favor. He recently decided to completely gut and remodel one of the rental homes. This project is expected to take 6 months or more. We anticipate remodeling several of the properties over the next few years. This is going to be a significant time and labor investment. We have talked about marriage and what a prenup might look like. He has been clear in that he wants to keep his rental properties as separate property if we were to get married. He has even gone as far to say that he would want the rental properties even separate from me in his estate planning's will, and that everything would go to his siblings. This has been alarming to me and quite hurtful. I understand he doesn't want to lose assets in the event we divorce, but I truly don't understand the estate side of things. This detail makes a difference because we have a 13-year age gap and he would likely pass before me. I have told him that if he wants to keep the rental business separate, that's fine. But I will no longer be volunteering my time to his business. Basically, that I won't be his free labor slave girl to enrich him and his family. If he wants me to come work on remodeling the properties, he will need to pay me as if I am an employee. I told him my pay rate would be $20 an hour. I have also suggested he call on his family to come help him. I am firm on this boundary right now. He is becoming resentful of my position on this. He believes that me helping him benefits both of us. I have asked him how it benefits both of us, and he really can't quantify how it benefits me in any way. We have totally separate finances. I am on board to be a partner and teammate, but what he expects doesn't really look like a partnership to me. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong, and those rates are crazy low. It is unrealistic to expect you to do the work for free and then his family benefit at his passing. I cannot see in any way that this is acceptable. If there were kid issues, maybe, but sounds like there are none. Maybe an even split between you and the family, but still, he should be paying you in some way, but leaving you completely out of any premarital assets seems extreme. My husband and I have assets, but like you, I have premarital assets that are mine and left to my kids and grandkids. He came into the marriage with nothing. But we now have 4 homes and cars and stuff, because of my funds, not his. We had agreed that what was mine will go to my kids, and what we accumulated together will be split amongst the grandkids, his and mine. His kids have treated me like trash throughout the marriage, and now it is worse. Now his grands get a set amount with specific jewelry pieces, and mine now split the rest. There didn't used to be his and mine, but his kids now have prevented me from seeing his grandchildren, as I spoil them too much, make them laugh, and enjoy their time. I was falsely accused of something, and now they hold an even bigger grudge against me. Even though it was proven via video, it was not me. So while I don't want to hurt the babies, I do not want his kids to benefit from my death. Wow, he sounds madly in love with you, huh? You're not in the wrong. He's using you and thinks you're going to screw him over because he is screwing you over. Do you see why it makes sense to him not to trust you? Because he knows you shouldn't trust him. He's projecting. You're not in the wrong. He has basically told you that you get nothing from these properties. I can understand a few hours here or there for your partner, but that is not what he is asking of you. Why would you waste your time on them? He wants to leave the properties to the family. Then the family can use their time to assist in the renovations.